Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Jerome.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Jerome, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are, as always, recapping last week, which is week 11, getting ready for week 12. But we always start with the latest league news. Jeff, what happened this week?
So this week we have a whole bunch of injuries that we're going to fold into our recap. And we have a new starting NFL quarterback that will also fold into our recap. So stay tuned for who the new starting quarterbacks are for their teams. But the bye weeks for week 11 were the Colts and the Saints. So not too many big name players other than Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara out there that were on bye. But the first game of the week was Thursday night. It was the Jets at the Patriots. All three of us picked the Patriots. Looked like it was going to be an exciting game when the Jets marched down the field, went up 7-0, but the Patriots easily won this game 27-14. Justin Fields has a better day than we thought he would, 116 yards through the air. So we got over the century mark this time and a touchdown. He also added 67 yards on the ground and another touchdown. But ultimately, after this game, the Jets decided to make a switch, and they're going with Tyrod Taylor going forward. So Justin Fields, the last 2 weeks, I think he combined for roughly 200 yards passing. Not very good from an NFL quarterback standpoint. And the Jets also, when they traded Sauce Gardner, they got A.D. Mitchell back, and he had a shot here to really put his stamp on his new organization, but he failed to bring in only one of his 6 targets. So we'll see what that means for A.D. Mitchell going forward. This benching seems like they are putting the onus on Justin Fields, the errant throws to A.D. Mitchell, and hopefully better days are ahead. I know this is one of Alex's favorite players, A.D. Mitchell, so we'll see if he's able to right the ship here with a much more accurate Tyrod Taylor. But Jerome, I know here you're a big Tre'Davious Henderson fan, and this was kind of his coming out party. 62 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, adds a receiving score as well. So big props to Henderson here. And what do you make of the Jets?
So I think it's time. I think the Jets probably feel like the Justin Fields experiment is over. I don't want to make excuses for Justin Fields, but I do feel like he's just left without weapons, without options to help him there. But at the same time, I mean, his job is to elevate those around him and make the offense work and generate points, and he's just not doing it. So here we are. It's Tyrod Taylor time. I don't mind it. I mean, I hope it unlocks Mason Taylor a little bit. I hope it, I don't know, just does something to, the secondary guys that we own in fantasy. As for speaking of the Jets, I feel like I've been watching their defense ever since trading Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. And I mean, I feel like the defense is still pretty good. I mean, this was a 21-14 game at one point. I feel like they're playing decent. I feel like the team is hanging in there. And, the thought of like attacking the Jets defense in fantasy hasn't really come to fruition in my eyes, not yet at least. So that was kind of interesting. On the flip side for the Patriots, I mean, we were talking about this before. It just feels like Vrabel just I don't know. He's just a good field general. I mean, the team is operating well, and um, it just seems like everything is making sense. And I suppose when you're winning, everything does make sense, and decisions um, seem to come easier and are more successful. But one of those decisions was Henderson. I mean, I know Stevenson's out, and he probably had to earn his stripes to start to get the ball. But like we said last week, I really felt like Stevenson. I really felt like Henderson just needed more reps. He just felt like a more rep kind of guy, and getting 5 to 10 wasn't enough. I feel like if he got 15 to 20, he's going to pop some. He's going to make something happen, and he did that this week. So, excited to see what happens, moving forward for him and for the Patriots.
Absolutely. Anything else on this game here? All right, last international game of the year here. And it was the Commanders at the Dolphins, this time in Spain. All three of us pick the Dolphins, and the Dolphins do win this game in overtime, 16-13. So not a lot to go over in this game. Just like the first game, we were all right in that one, and we're all right in this one as well. So Chris Rodriguez takes over the Commanders' backfield in this one, and I don't think that he led that much in carries, but in production, he led overall. So this will be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see what the Commanders do in the backfield. But I believe this could be Chris Rodriguez's backfield going forward. And Deebo Samuel has a good day with Marcus Mariota throwing. He had 8 targets, 7 catches. So very accurate to Deebo Samuel, and 74 yards and 1 touchdown. And Achane had a great day on the ground with 120 yards on 21 carries. He actually left the game at one point after getting crushed in this game, but he ended up coming back. I know that's one of the biggest worries with Achane is if he will be able to stay healthy and upright all season. And through 11 weeks and I think 10 games, he has stayed upright and healthy and a viable fantasy contributor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the Dolphins side, I mean, Achane's just a wonderful player. I mean, and he's eliminating those concerns that we had about like a smaller back or whatever at the beginning of the season. I mean, he's doing so well in this offense. Um, Ollie Gordon, I mean, he had a touchdown in this game. I feel like he's starting to increase his reps and, be more part of the offense, even though he probably was in a little bit more than normal just because Achan was dinged up a little bit. Tua only 14 completions. So, I mean, overall, I felt like the offense was quiet. Waddle was quiet. There's just not going to be a lot going on when the quarterback has 14 completions. But they did just enough, and the Commanders, I feel like they kind of gave them one a little bit. I mean, Matt Gay missed 2 field goals in this game. He has since been cut by the Commanders. So, that is as you would expect, I suppose. Chris Rodriguez, Chris Rodriguez, when I heard of Brian Robinson being traded, Chris Rodriguez was the first guy that I went to add. And at the time, I feel like there was like on the depth chart, it made sense, but people were talking about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. And, I got a bunch of shares of Rodriguez, and I feel like I've been wrong this whole time until now. I feel like Bill has faded a little. McNichols has been in there, but I'm wondering if Rodriguez is going to be not a league winner for the remainder of fantasy, but maybe like that flex running back or something that you could start that maybe you didn't have before that now gives you an option if Washington is playing against a bad defense.
Absolutely, and we don't know when Jaden Daniels is going to return. He did not go on IR, so I believe they're by this week. I could quickly scroll down in the notes here and figure that out. Yes, they are on bye coming back from the international games. So are the Dolphins. So I don't know after the bye who's even going to be the quarterback here. Be interesting to see what a running back does next to Jaden Daniels. As long as Jaden Daniels can stay upright and healthy, I hope Mariota is ready to go into pretty much every game the rest of the season the way that it's going.
Yeah, I don't know. Dislocated elbow just sounds like a big deal. In my mind, I'm not expecting Daniels. I own Daniels on a couple of teams, and I'm really not planning to start him.
Yeah, he's had a rough season, rough second season, kind of the opposite of the quarterback in the last matchup, Drake May. And some could even argue Bo Nix is having a little bit of a rough sophomore season as well. So, and anything else on this matchup?
No.
All right. Speaking of rough sophomore season, see, I have a little segue here. The next matchup here was the Panthers at the Falcons. All three of us picked the Falcons thinking that they would get their comeuppance from the 31-0 victory that the Panthers had earlier this year. However, the Panthers sweep the Falcons, so all three of us lost this game. This one was in overtime, not quite a blowout like the first one was, but 30-27. So that means the Panthers have outscored the Falcons this year 61-27. That was it's pretty interesting to see the divide between these two teams because I thought they were a lot closer going into this year than this. And obviously this one was in Atlanta, so overtime makes sense for this game. But Bryce Young here sets Panthers passing record at 448 yards, and he also adds 3 touchdowns as well. So he passed Cam Newton here. I know I just made a TikTok last week, and he probably saw it and used it as ammunition to be like, I'm going to pass for all the yards this week because I said he had one game over 200 yards, this game over 400 yards. Dowdle here did not have the big game that I thought he might have, considering the game that Jonathan Taylor had the week before. But Tat McMillan has the coming out party, and that was 12 targets, 8 catches, and 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this rookie is in the top 10 of receivers right now in half-point PPR scoring. So don't know where that came from, to be honest, because I think I had him in the 40s before the year started. You don't really want to bet on a rookie receiver to take off like they have in years past. But he seems to be getting hotter as the season's going on. Now, as I alluded to, the rookie quarterbacks from last year, so second-year quarterbacks here, Michael Penix gets knocked out of this game with a knee injury, and we come to find out that he is out for the rest of the season and will miss 9 to 10 months with a partially torn ACL that required reconstruction surgery. The good news is this is not on his right knee, it's on his left knee. His right knee has been since twice reconstructed. So I honestly don't know how much longer he's going to want to play the sport for, because 3 ACL tears in his career between college and the pros seems ridiculous. But we are in Kirk Cousins territory the rest of the season. So that's our 2 quarterback changes. We have Cousins coming in for the Falcons for injury reasons, and we have Tyrod coming in for the Jets for performance reasons. And to finish summing up this game here, Drake London had a good day, but will miss some time with a knee injury. We really don't know the extent of that knee injury, but we'll end this one on a positive one. Bijan does go off on the ground, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this was not an Algier game. He actually was MIA from the box score pretty much here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bijan scored his first rushing touchdown since week 6. He's had some receiving touchdowns, but I mean, the rushing TDs just haven't been there. And when they have been there, Algier's taken some. I feel like with the Penix injury, not that he was setting the world on fire, but it does feel like Cousins is a downgrade. And I think overall we need to downgrade all Falcons players in fantasy. And I feel like that includes Bijan. As for the Panthers, I mean, who would have thought Young would throw for 448 yards? I mean, I am not a Young believer, which is why I picked the Falcons to win this game. They were at home, and none of that mattered. Um, you know, you know, with him passing that much, I mean, everybody ate, right? I mean, Leggett had a good game. Um, Tet had a great game. Tommy Tremble had a huge catch in OT to put them in field goal range. So, Dowdle had 24 touches. He had 5 catches, 19 carries. So, I mean, it's nice to see. It's nice to see. I feel like it's the opposite of what Tua was, right? Tua was 14 completions, kind of quiet. Everybody around him was quiet. The quarterback really is the game changer when it comes to fantasy stats, and having a guy throw for 448 yards, just everybody seemingly blows up around him. Now, that being said, though, the only thing on Tet that I would say is he has 4 touchdowns this year, but it's only in 2 games. He had 2 touchdowns in 2 games, and has not scored otherwise. So he does feel a little boom or bust, a little touchdown dependent. But when he's scoring, he's probably winning you that week. And otherwise, it's a normal game for him. But like you said, he's a wide receiver 1 right now in fantasy. So I would not have seen that coming at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. That is the shocker and the fun of watching a player develop like that. So, although we see, not to get too excited, because we saw what happened to Brian Thomas Jr. and the fact that he's regressed in year 2. So, just because someone has a good year 1 does not mean they're going to have a good year 2. So,
Yep, you're right.
Good to know. Good to note there, because Bryce Young also came out with an ankle injury in this game, so his availability will be a little bit in question going into their Monday night battle with the 49ers. Good news is that he was able to return to the game, though. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this matchup here?
No, that's all I've got.
All right. I could talk the Panthers all day. We all know this. I feel like I had a lot of notes on that game, but it was also one of the higher scoring games of the week. So the next game here was one of the lower scoring games of the week, a little bit higher than the Spain game, but it's the Bears at the Vikings. Rome and I picked the Vikings. Alex picked the Bears. The Bears edge out the Vikings in this one 19-17. Swift is still out touching Monangai 21-12, but Monangai is getting the touchdowns. So he is the goal line back that we talked about last week. So that is a very important role for this team. And we will see if that continues going forward. But Ben Johnson has alluded to the hot hand will be the carrier each week. So it could be Monangai week, it could be a Swift week, and we just don't know yet. So that backfield is very volatile. And I could see the Bears in the market to replace Swift after this year and pair Monangai with a running back, a younger, cheaper running back going forward as well. So, but JJ McCarthy for the Vikings here, the reason why they lost, has another poor performance. And it is very visible at this point, but Justin Jefferson is getting more and more frustrated with this. And that was my whole point of starting Carson Wentz over JJ McCarthy, is you don't want to lose players like Justin Jefferson in the locker room. Now, at the end of the season here, the Vikings will have to decide a path, whether they're going to continue on the JJ McCarthy path or if they're going to go in a different direction. Now, if they go in the JJ McCarthy draft, could Justin Jefferson be available via trade? That's a viable question, because if you're not using him and he's one of the more expensive receivers in the league, and he's getting more and more frustrated and more disengaged, does that help or hurt? Or where do you believe that this goes at the end of the year for the Vikings?
I think that JJ stays. I think they're going to give him a shot. This is his first, year playing. But mean, even him coming out of college, I feel like was such a unique scenario. I mean, he played for Michigan, who didn't pass the ball a lot, but he was highly rated. He was considered a good QB, even though he didn't have the stats. But the stats didn't hurt him per se, right? Because that was just the offense they ran. Same thing with Loveland, right? I mean, Loveland was on the same team, and didn't have crazy stats, but he had some good metrics and so forth. But I mean, it's not working. It's not working, and I think they're still going to give him more time, and it's just too bad that it's crumbling the supporting cast in fantasy. I mean, he threw for 150 yards this game. I mean, it's just, that's not going to do it in fantasy or in the NFL. The part that surprised me overall about this game was that the Vikings had the lead. They took the lead 17-16 with 49 seconds left, and their D um, couldn't hold the Bears from the field goal. Though the Bears used a long kickoff return.
Yep.
I think
Special
to get to like the
teams.
50, and then they only needed to get a little bit more. So maybe I shouldn't put it on the Vikings D there, but still though, you got Caleb Williams against you. You're thinking he's got to go to the whole field in 49 seconds. I feel like the Vikings D is excellent. I mean, that's what's keeping them in all these games. Brian Flores, and it wasn't enough. So, the Bears. I mean, I like Swift. I mean, I think Swift is doing such a great job this season in this offense. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the money they're paying and maybe moving on, but I don't know. It just feels like it's working. I mean, even the 1-2 punch is working. Even before it was the 1-2 punch, Swift was working. So I'm just not sure that's what they do to save money. I mean, I feel like they have a log jam, at wide receiver and at tight end. I mean, I feel like they should move one of those guys before they move a Swift. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, so after the bye, he went from 24 points fantasy to 20 points to 14 points to 12.3 fantasy points to 9. So he's been going down consistently every week since the bye. And I don't think that's a coincidence because they have been using Monangai more and more. But I don't think Monangai is the passing down back. I think everyone thought that Roshan Johnson would have gotten a shot in this backfield, and that didn't happen. But Monangai is proving to be a valuable fantasy back. He's currently 36 in half-point PPR. And he's had some strong weeks like 21 points and some weak weeks like 2.4 points since the bye week. So, but he's consistent in the game plan now. I don't know if you're noticing that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's in. He's part of the team for sure.
Yep. So good to have another back here. He's probably in the phylum of, say, Algier. Algier has been more established, of course, so don't get that twisted that I'm saying that he's quite up to where Algier is usage-wise. But he has that possibility to be the touchdown stealer of the two. So let's say the Bears go out and get a running back this upcoming offseason, and Monangai's there. He could be the Algier to someone's Bijan.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be another timeshare, but I mean, he's doing well and he's earning it. So, I mean, you got to give him credit.
Ironically, Algier is running back 35 and Monangai is running back 36. So, and Bill Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is 34. So they're all kind of in the same space.
There you go.
All right. Anything else on this divisional matchup here that put the Bears into first place?
No, I've got nothing else to add.
All right. Bengals at Steelers are next. Alex and I picked the Steelers. Jerome went the oddball method here and went the Bengals. And the Bengals cannot keep up the hope of Joe Burrow's return as they fall to the Steelers 34-12. Very poor offensive showing by the Bengals in this one. considering how it was a few weeks ago on Thursday night, and where we got a shootout between the two quarterbacks that threw 7 passing combined touchdowns. Higgins outcatches Chase in this one and also gets the touchdown. Chase is suspended for week 12 due to spitting on Jalen Ramsey, who got ejected from this game. So there is no Jamar Chase in week 12. So get him out of your lineups, first of all. And secondly, if the Bengals lose this week, do they even bother bringing Joe Burrow out of IR when the team is not competitive? Because this was supposed to be an injury that brought him into December. So it feels like they're bringing him back early to try to get this playoff push. Is there going to be a point where it's not worth bringing back Joe Burrow?
I was thinking about this morning. I mean, I could see Burrow wanting to come back and play, and I could see the team trying to save him from himself, right? So, I mean, it's curious to see who's going to win that, right? I mean, the team is not going to say, hey, Joe, go back out there and risk something that could affect next season, right? I mean, they're going to want to play it safe, especially if the playoffs are not in the picture. But at the same time, I mean, he's probably going to want to play. The receivers are going to want him to play. I mean, the whole team. I mean, he's their leader. They're going to want him back. So if I were to, I don't know. It feels different. I mean, this one feels different. Normally, I would feel like the team is definitely going to say no. It's not even. I mean, sometimes guys get injured and we hear like nothing. We hear nothing. We hear nothing about Joe Mixon. We hear, when guys are out, they're out and there's nothing, right? So, I mean, for Joe to be like talking about coming back and setting a date and all of this, I mean, I feel like that wouldn't happen if at the end of the day they were going to say, we're saving you for 2026.
Yeah, I just really don't know. I think at some point I will release some material on Joe Burrow here because I believe that the Bengals have wasted and squandered his career. And the Bengals aren't also getting a return on investment from the perspective of Joe Burrow is next year up for his 3rd comeback player of the year. So I really want to dive into what it would look like if the Bengals traded Joe Burrow in the offseason and kind of rebooted this franchise a little bit because their defense is horrendous. They don't really. Chase Brown's a good running back, but no one by any stretch of the imagination would call him a great running back. So he's probably a one deal and done type of running back. So they do have Chase and Higgins. So they do have a team that's built for a journeyman veteran quarterback. I don't know who that would look like for next year, but they could always draft a rookie with the picks that they acquire for Burrow, plus bring in a veteran journeyman kind of guy. And that would be my preferred method because I think that they're not getting the return on investment on Joe Burrow. And something's not working with the Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow combination with injuries and the early struggles of the season. So I really want to explore that and see where I go with that because there's teams like I know we just brought up the Panthers. Bryce Young just had a career game, but what if they traded for Joe Burrow and that was Dave Canales' quarterback for the next 10 years? I think that franchise looks very differently if that happens. So, but the Cardinals will be looking for a quarterback to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr., or they could trade Marvin Harrison Jr. because something clearly isn't working there also. So I think there's a lot of players that could be moved this offseason. Some won't because they're too big of names. Like, I don't know if Justin Jefferson ever gets moved, like we just talked about in the last game, because he's a big name. But imagine him with Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills, like as Josh Allen's won for the next 5 years. That's a game changer. That's something that makes Buffalo a favorite every year for the AFC. There's big moves that could make this happen. But and the only reason I bring this up is because you see Justin Jefferson's frustration. So at some point it's going to bubble over and you're not going to be able to repair it. So I just hope they don't get to that point. But before I let you finish up here, the Steelers side, Aaron Rodgers, speaking of injuries, hurt his wrist and could miss some time. He's trying to get cleared for this weekend. It's all up to the doctors at this point. He wants to play. It's broken. So, but he can play with a cast or a splint or whatever on it. It's going to limit how he hands off and how he does play action, but it is playable through. And with the Rodgers injury, Kenneth Gainwell was the beneficiary here. He had 2 passing catches on 7 total catches. So, what did you make of your Steelers and anything else on the Bengals here?
Yeah, I tried to reverse jinx a win for the Steelers by
It
picking the
worked.
Bengals. Um, yeah, yeah, it I guess it worked, right? So, for the Steelers, I mean, they I mean, this game was close. I mean, it was only at the end where a couple of defensive touchdowns, I feel like, put the game out of reach, and some turnovers put the game out of reach. Jalen Warren does appear okay. I mean, he's not. We don't know if he's going to play yet in Week 12, but it doesn't seem like it's something serious. If he stays out, Gainwell feels like a must start in fantasy. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, because Caleb Johnson really isn't in the picture. I mean, he's getting some touches. I mean, Gainwell is going to be the guy, and not to mention, whether it's a hurt Rodgers or whether it's a Mason Rudolph. I mean, I could see them using that short, quick passing game, and that's going to funnel balls to Gainwell. So that could be something for guys to consider. As far as the Bengals go, I mean, the Ramsey versus Chase, battle all day was fun to watch. I mean, they were chirping the whole game, and you could tell tensions were high. And then Ramsey throws a punch, and everybody just really felt like he was so in the wrong and lost his cool. And now everybody gets it, and everybody understands it. And Chase is now suspended. So I mean, Higgins is going to be the guy to own this week, and I hope he blows up. I hope he blows up. I hope Flacco feeds it to him. I mean, I think Gesicki's coming back. Shivash is there, but I mean, who else is there? No, I
Right.
mean, it's got to go to Higgins.
Historically, when Higgins has had the number 1 cornerback on him, he has struggled. So historically, when Chase is out, Higgins does struggle. So we'll see if that continues here, and hopefully not, because I know a lot of people that have Higgins in their lineup. But Yoshivash might be a good pickup this week. We'll see. I think Gesicki still might be a week away. I think they just opened up his practice window. All right. Let's hop over to the Packers at the Giants. I picked the Giants. You guys picked the Packers. Jordan Love just enough in this game to beat Winston and the Giants 27-20. So my Giants pick wasn't as outrageous as it seemed here on the podcast last week. Josh Jacobs, though, is injured. Just like I said, Jalen Warren getting more carries might get him injured, and he did get injured. You also threw out there that you're worried about Josh Jacobs getting injured, and here we are. He is injured, and we'll figure out how bad he has been missing practice so far this week. And Emmanuel Wilson appears to be the guy to own with him out right now, but we also have Marshawn Lloyd looming in the background to come back from his 5th hamstring injury since he's been a pro. This is only his 2nd year. So I know Alex was very big on Marshawn Lloyd, but guy might never be able to have an NFL career due to soft tissue injuries. But Jameis Winston had an all right day, but throws the killer pick to end it, and it wasn't even really his fault. It was a Jalen Hyatt fault, which I'm surprised. Jalen Hyatt has not been released by the Giants yet because his play has been pretty poor over the first 3 seasons of his NFL career. I know Alex was also high on Jalen Hyatt, but I think it's time to stick a fork in him and call it over. I put him actually in a lineup this week, in a DFS lineup, because I was like, Winston, pair him up with the guy that goes deep. That was my thought, my advantage over others. And it could have worked out because the touchdown should have been grabbed, but he quit his route and led to the interception. So interesting there. And Tracy and Singletary get over 15 carries each. So they're gonna try to win on the ground, I think, even when Jackson Dart returns. And I think Jackson Dart will run less too. So that'll impact Jackson Dart's fantasy value at some point.
Yeah, I was really excited about Winston coming in. I thought it was going to be fireworks, kind of like what we saw from Flacco. Um, and it wasn't. I mean, he didn't even throw a touchdown pass. He had one rushing score, 201 yards passing. I mean, it felt like maybe he was trying to play within himself and not that gunslinger mentality that we kind of love him for. But still disappointing. I mean, he kept them in the game, but it was still disappointing that they couldn't get the win, or that he couldn't, blow up in fantasy. And it seems like Dart has a chance to play this upcoming week, so that might be the end of Wilson's run. As for the Packers, I mean, Jordan Love only had 13 completions this game. He was banged up for a little bit. I think even one of the Watson touchdowns came from Malik Willis. So, I mean, but let's talk about Watson for a second. So, I mean, Watson just all of a sudden now seems to have emerged as the hot hand wide receiver on Green Bay, and I cannot say I saw this coming. Not to mention, I mean, I always considered Watson as like the deep threat guy with stone hands. I just felt like he didn't really catch the ball a ton. It would bounce off his hands. And I mean, you see some of the catches he made, even the one touchdown catch that he made. I mean, it was unbelievable. So I don't know if, he's evolving, he's getting better. I mean, he didn't seem to be that like deep threat guy this game. He just seems to be all over and had a great game. So that is something to watch because Watson may be available in some leagues. I know one of my Yahoo leagues, he was just scooped up off waivers this morning. So, I mean, shallow leagues, he could be out there. Josh Jacobs has a knee injury. I was worried about Josh because he had been nursing the calf, and I don't like that. No, I don't like anything calf related. I think Achilles. But this was a knee injury. All the reports that have come out since Sunday are saying that there's nothing structural. Just going to see if he could practice and get ready. He hasn't practiced yet. So we'll see what happens. We'll just have to monitor that. And if you've got Wilson on your bench, I mean, be ready to throw him in there.
Absolutely. All right. Let's hop over to our next game here, and it's the Texans at the Titans. All three of us picked the Texans. This was also my survivor pick of the week, and the Texans did win, but with a nail biter at the buzzer, 16-13. Davis Mills does a nice job in his second spot start, and we found out that he'll get his third spot start on Thursday night against the Bills. But the run game never gets going as Marks takes over for Chubb as the lead back in this one. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep up with Woody Marks going forward, considering his first performance as the lead back. But Nico Collins scores their only touchdown, and he seems like the only bright spot in this game. I think he might have an injury concern for Thursday night that I'll look at here in the background for when we get everyone ready for the Thursday night game against the Bills. And Cam Ward here had his best day passing, but no support through the ground. I feel like this is becoming more and more common space for NFL teams as they're forgetting the ground game more and more and more. But Calvin Ridley here returned after a few games out and broke his fibula. and looks like he'll be out for the rest of the season. So he is safe to drop in pretty much all formats, including Dynasty, because I don't see Calvin Ridley returning in 2026 to a strong year. So we're so far away from the Atlanta Falcons version of Calvin Ridley that he would have to go somewhere spectacular like KC, and they would have to lose two of their top receivers in order for him to be fantasy relevant again. So there's so many things that would have to happen for him to be fantasy relevant. It's probably time to move off of him. Any thoughts on this game here, Jerome?
From the Tennessee side, I mean, I feel like Ridley needs to be the 2 and not the 1. So even if Ridley stays, maybe they find a way to get a 1 in there and make Ridley the 2. I think that would help Cam Ward. I mean, you had said that there was really no support on the ground for Cam Ward. I mean, there's no support anywhere. I mean, who's he throwing the ball to? Like Van Jefferson? I mean,
Io Manor.
right.
DK.
Exactly, right? So, I feel like Ward still needs help with that supporting cast to really get a feel for where he's at. And I think it would just help open up everything, right? Teams would respect the pass, then maybe the running game gets going, that whole thing. As for the Texans, I mean, Davis Mills, we need to wake up on Davis Mills. I mean, he is playing so much better than CJ Stroud. He has unlocked this offense in a way that CJ Stroud could not. I mean, Nico Collins is balling again after, he could not with Stroud. Stroud or Davis Mills is completing, 26, 27 passes for like 280, 300 yards these games. I mean, he's filling the stat sheet, and that is having a trickle down effect to all of the guys that were starting in fantasy. So, I mean, I feel like this is an eye-opening situation for Houston, and I'm curious to see what happens when Stroud is ready to return. Similarly, like San Francisco, where Mac was doing well, he was playing well, and Purdy got healthy, and Purdy got the job back, right? And then Purdy ended up really coming out hot in his first game back. But I don't know, the Houston thing feels different. Houston's situation feels different.
We will see. We will see. Their season, every week, it feels like their season's on the line. And at 5-5, they have a top defense, but their offense has been inconsistent at best, especially with the offensive line. So
yeah, I mean, they've won 2 in a row.
Can they make it 3
with Davis Mills?
Can they make it 3? I mean, the Titans, you'd say, are a bottom 3 team, though, right?
Yes.
And I know how much of a Trevor Lawrence fan you are. It took to the wire to beat the Jaguars. So it's not the best talent. So we will see here going forward. I don't expect them to overtake the Colts in the division. So that's thing one that I'm thinking about here. And then thing 2 is, can they get to the Kansas Cities of the world that are vying for the wild card spot? That's a great question. And it'll be told over time, but I think Kansas City's still a better team than Houston. All right. Anything else here?
No, sir.
And speaking of a wild card teams here, we have the Chargers at the Jaguars. We all 3 picked the Chargers in this one. All 3 are still in wild card contention. I think they are still in actually a spot right now. So those are going to be some teams that the Texans have to pass and overcome. But Herbert has the rougher of the 2 days here between him and Lawrence, and the Jaguars dominate this game 35-6. Herbert has 81 yards passing. They lose Vidal, which by my calculation, they've lost Najee, they've lost Hampton, they've lost Haskins, they've lost Vidal. They're going to be on running back number 5 for the year. So that's not good. Considering that they want to put a focus on the run game, it's almost impossible with hurt running backs to do that. And Herbert and the offense are really paying a price because they're not able to run what they've installed in the preseason. And it's sad because this team was built very well this year. And unfortunately, the pieces that they upgraded are the pieces that they're losing. So they're almost back to square one. And then they also lost their left and right tackle, which is what this whole team is predicated on for the pass game. And it's completely destroyed the value of this team. Although they do have 7 wins, which was a little bit surprising at this point in the season. I think they're 7-4. So they still are in a driver's seat for a wild card spot. So let's not get it twisted there. But Lawrence isn't much better here with 152 yards passing. Tootin and Etienne were the real story here. They split the work, but Tootin gets 1 touchdown and Etienne gets 2. So they scored 3 rushing touchdowns in this one. And with Thomas out and Travis Hunter out for the rest of the season, Jacoby Myers is their lead wide receiver. And there's some speculation out there that the team acquired Jacoby Myers to replace Brian Thomas next year because they like his ability to play with Lawrence a little bit better because Lawrence isn't super accurate. And also here that the Jaguars here need a guy that can go point the ball up here. All right. Anything on this matchup here?
I had a feeling that Myers was going to be the one. So, I mean, I know Thomas is still out, but I mean, he's the guy for sure. Etienne and Tootin, I mean, I think Tootin is fighting his way into making this a timeshare. He is doing very well. I picked the Chargers to win because I'm an anti-Lawrence guy. I mean, I'm an anti-Herbert guy too, so I had to pick, the best of 2 evils in my opinion. But Herbert couldn't do it. Vidal went down. McConkey couldn't get it going. I mean, the one thing on Herbert that I wanted to mention though was that he's got 9 interceptions already this season. That might be leading the league. And I mean, he only had 3 last year. So, I mean, I'm not sure, I feel like, he was so hot at the beginning of the season. Gadsden's been positive. Keenan Allen's been positive. McConkey's been a positive. Like all these positive pass catching situations, on the surface make it look like this is, a great season for him. And he's already tripled the amount of interceptions and we're, just barely past the halfway mark on the season. So, something is not adding up there when it comes to Justin Herbert.
Absolutely. The league leaders are Geno Smith and Tua Tagovailoa, and they both have 13 interceptions each. So
Okay.
he's up there, but not there. And I think a lot of it's that he's forcing the ball this year, and he's being forced to force the ball without a run game. And it makes it easier to get interceptions. Plus, he's not getting the protection and the time to throw the ball where he would have with Joe Alt, and the left tackle is escaping my brain right now. But that has greatly reduced the time for him to throw, for things to develop, and I think that's hurt McConkey the most because you need a little bit of time to run a route over the middle.
Yep, I agree with you.
All right, Buccaneers at the Bills here. This game had almost 10 lead changes, and the Bills do win this game 44-32, so they do run away with it at the end. So we all 3 picked the Bills. We all 3 won. Mayfield put this team on his back, but they failed to pick up the victory in this one here. Sean Tucker has a breakout game with 19 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and adds 34 yards and a touchdown through the air. But Josh Allen here turns into Superman and has 6 total touchdowns, 3 through the air and 3 on the ground. And Shavers appears to have taken a step forward here to being the go-to wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. I know they're looking for a guy to step up, and they thought it was going to be Shakir. They actually paid him a bit in the offseason, but it has not been Shakir. What were your takeaways from this game here?
I feel like we got a different offensive result from the Bills because they played with a different formation. Kincaid was out, Knox was, not around, and it felt like they went from, using that two tight end set or that three tight end set and shifted to, a more wide open style of play. Josh Allen threw for over 300 yards. Uh, and they had to do that because the Bucks just kept coming, right? And the offense was just scoring all over the place in this game. Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch. I mean, that's definitely looking like a bust pick early on right now, but there's time, so we'll see. But I mean, they need help with pass catchers, so it's definitely telling that he's a healthy scratch. As far as the Bucks go, yeah, I mean Mayfield's our boy. I mean he's everybody's boy, but I mean they've now lost 3 of 4, and I feel like he's doing what he can. You know, his supporting cast is very injured right now. Sean Tucker. I mean, he's getting his chance, and he's doing well. And I feel like they're going to use a hot hand approach, and he's hot right now, and that's all there is to it. And I think when Bucky does come back, I think it'll probably still be like a 50-50, even with some Rashad White in there, right? So maybe even like a 50-40-10. But I think it's only a matter of time before we realize how good Bucky is. And I think he that 50-50 split is not going to last very long if we even start there in the first place.
Right. They might start there to ease him back in. But to your point, Rashad White, his contract is up at the end of the season. And the same can be said for Sean Tucker. So he's a restricted free agent after this year. So they might bring him back for one more on a cheaper deal.
Mhm.
All right, ready to hop over to the Seahawks at the Rams. We all picked the Rams. Arnold comes back down to earth as the Rams win this one 21-19. Darnold throws 4 picks in this game, and Ken Walker takes over the backfield in this one, 67 yards and a touchdown. JSN goes over 100 yards again. He is the unquestioned wide receiver 1.5 point PPR at this point. And I was just thinking about how disappointing wide receiver has been this year. And from a fantasy perspective, JSN has not disappointed. And Stafford does not throw 4 touchdowns, but he does throw 2. And as always, Nakua leads in yards, and Adams gets the short touchdown with his only catch, and seems to be on par with the entire year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stafford's great season continues, even though it was a little toned down this game. He only had 15 completions. I don't know why. I mean, a lot of these QBs just aren't passing the ball. I don't know if maybe with the weather getting colder. I mean, does that kind of start? I mean, that it wouldn't have affected the Rams in this game, but I don't know if maybe in some of those other games, we're going to start seeing less passing and maybe more running in the NFL as the weather gets colder and it gets windier out. But Stafford is up to 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far this season, which is incredible. He has 24 consecutive touchdown throws without an interception. So he did have a 3-2 ratio, and now he's gone on a 24-0 run, which is pretty amazing. As for the Seahawks, I mean, tough game for Darnold. I'm still a believer, but I mean, it was like the Rams knew what he was doing. I mean, I mean, he even had a jump pass intercepted. I mean, he just seemed like he was just so out of sorts. they were in it. It just he just didn't have it, and he just kept getting worse and worse, and like digging the hole deeper. But Ken Walker scored, which was nice to see. That hasn't happened a lot with Charbonnet being the goal line back this year. Um, and moving forward, I mean, I still like Ken Walker. I mean, I think Ken Walker's doing well. It's just he's just only getting chances in between the 20s.
Absolutely. But this was a tough divisional matchup, and I think that's why it was so low scoring. And you didn't get the normal performance from the quarterbacks. These are probably the top two teams in the division. Although the 49ers would have a stake at that as well. They played at the Cardinals, so another divisional matchup here. We all picked the 49ers. Purdy returns to a pretty big game here, and the 49ers win 41-22, so they keep up their win-loss streak. And next week they play the Panthers, so that should be a loss on that win-loss streak. CMC has his best day on the ground in a while with 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Kittle Purdy connection is alive and well. I noticed a few great receptions in the game, and I think a touchdown as well. And Brissett completes a league record for a game of 47 passes. And Knight and DeMarcado split the backfield. DeMarcado is out with an ankle injury, and he will miss some time. So with Benson's 21-day window being opened this week, I believe it's safe to drop DeMarcado. And it's probably safe to start Bam Knight this week because he'll probably be the unquestioned lead back this week. And Michael Wilson, man, it makes you wonder why they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. Killer day here. 18 targets, 15 catches, 185 yards. Cannot imagine what Ted McMillan's going to do to them this upcoming week. But hopefully they take this as a blueprint. And anything else to add to this matchup here?
I got to give a shout out to Sky Moore. He returned, I think it was a kick or a punt to the 1 yard line. So he stayed off the highlight reels without a return touchdown, but he did show up and provided the team with a ball on the one. I mean, Purdy was great. I mean, the offense was humming. I'm excited to see him back and what it means for guys like Kittle and even CMC. I mean, CMC had a receiving touchdown in this game. I mean, he was wide open on his receiving touchdown. I mean, I don't know how a defense does that. I really don't. I mean, did Purdy look him off? Was it schemed that way? I mean, the Niners just, I mean, there's such a good offensive team and have a good offensive coach that it's fun to see them do things like that, right? When I feel like sometimes I'm watching just like balls get run up the middle, So from the Cardinals side, Brissett. I mean, Brissett's been dealing. I mean, he has been such a surprise, such a pleasant surprise when Kyler just could not get anything going. Brissett is breaking the all-time record for completions in a game. I mean, it's just who would have thought? So moving forward, I mean, I wish Harrison was healthy. It'd be nice to see what he could have done in a game like this. I don't think Michael Wilson would have had the 15 catches. I think it would have been Harrison Jr.
Still can't wait to see what Tet does this upcoming week, though.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Last 4 matchups here. We have the Ravens at the Browns. We all picked the Ravens. Lamar does not have a great day, but in the end, the Ravens still win 23-16. The Browns did lead the vast majority of this game, so we all pick up a win here, though. Henry goes over 100 and gets a touchdown, and Dylan Gabriel gets hurt, and that leads to Shedeur Sanders' first NFL snaps. Fortunately, it didn't amount to much, but this week, with Gabriel out with a concussion, Sanders will get his first start on Sunday versus the Raiders, which is a very juicy first matchup for him. So, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Miles Garrett had 4 sacks this game, and the only reason why, I mean, it's obviously fantastic, but I mean, I think it's even more fantastic when it's against Lamar Jackson. I feel like that needed to be said. On the offensive side of the ball, I mean, Shador was 4 for 16. I mean, the crowd was really excited, everybody was really excited, but at the end of the day, he was 4 for 16. And I mean, I think this game against the Raiders, it could get ugly. And I don't. I look at it from the other way. I don't think this is a get right for the Browns. I think this is going to be a get right for the Raiders. On the other side of the ball for the Ravens, two things stood out. Mark Andrews had a fake tush push bootleg
For
for
a
a rushing
touchdown.
score, which I thought was pretty cool. And Lamar Jackson, I mean, another QB with low completions. He only completed 14 passes, which just takes the air out of just taking the air out of the ball for Zay Flowers and Andrews and anybody else who's catching passes.
Absolutely. All right. I think there'll be better days ahead for the Ravens. They don't play as tough of defenses going forward. I think the Browns is one of the toughest defenses in the league. And I think the Ravens played Sanders pretty tough, and Sanders didn't have any first team reps. So I think the Raiders will be a little bit of a rejoice for him. We'll see if he can do anything with it. That'll be the question going into the week. And the next matchup here is the Chiefs at the Broncos. We all picked the Chiefs, but the Denver sinks KC at the buzzer 22-19. And Mahomes was under pressure all day and unable to get the ball moving consistently. So that was really the crux of this matchup here. Hunt gets 100% of the RB touches, so we do need Pacheco to come back, but it's interesting that Brashad Smith is not being utilized. And Kelsey goes 91 yards and a touchdown and has a good day, but Rice barely shows up with 38 yards. No touchdowns in this one's. Interesting to see that script flip a little bit, and especially with their cornerback Sertan out. So that was interesting. Knicks was just as up and down though, had 0 touchdowns. So, and the run game wasn't great either. They're going to miss J.K. Dobbins now for the rest of the season with a foot injury. And Franklin and Bryant are the lead receivers with over 80 yards each, and they seem to have overpassed Sutton a little bit. So, what were your takeaways from this one?
It's funny to hear you say that, Knicks didn't have a great game and the running game wasn't really going, and you beat the Chiefs, right? I mean, that's hard to believe, but they just keep winning. Um,
Low scoring and field goals.
yeah, McLaughlin with the TD. So, I mean, even he was kind of a surprise beneficiary and took one off of Harvey. Um, on the Chiefs side, I mean, Kelsey looked healthier. I feel like he looked the healthiest. He looked the fastest that I've seen so far this season. So I'm hoping that that keeps going. It's fun to see that connection working. As for Rice, Rice had he had one of those like those pop passes where he's in motion and it's hiked and then he pops it forward on the run. He got stopped at the 1 yard line. So, I feel like he's getting the ball inside the 5. He was that close to scoring and really, probably not being somebody who you would talk about as having a disappointing day if he just got in for the touchdown on that play. But otherwise, uh, give the Broncos a lot of credit for winning this one, and I mean the Chiefs need to win more games if they want to make the playoffs.
Agreed. They could be another statistical case of the Super Bowl loser missing the playoffs. I think the last 3 or 4 have missed the playoffs. So we have that. But next one here, speaking of the Super Bowl, we have the Super Bowl champs where they hosted the Detroit Lions. Alex and I picked the Lions. Jerome picked the Eagles. another oddball here, but Philly does win surprisingly low. So Jerome won an oddball one here, 16-9. Jahmyr Gibbs has a better day through the air than on the ground, 100 plus yards through the air. Hurts still isn't passing great, 135 yards passing, which isn't great. And AJ Brown gets the squeaky wheel treatment with 11 targets, but still only 49 yards. And what I took away from this game is Philly's coach really tried to let Detroit stick around when they went for it on 4th and 1 in their own territory, which led to it becoming from a 10-point game to a 7-point game. So they really kept the Lions around, and the refs kind of wrapped it up for Philly too in a phantom pass interference call. So I think every team gets their fair share of bad calls. And this just one happened in prime time and actually decided the game, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, so, Philly, I mean, my pick was more about defense than it was about offense, and they made me look good there. I mean, their past two games, I mean, Detroit has scored 9 points and Green Bay has scored 7 points. So, I mean, the defense is really getting hot at the right time of the season. I mean, the offense, right? I mean, it's been meh. I mean, they just can't seem to get anything going, really. I mean, I know Hurts had a big game a couple of weeks ago, but I mean, this just seems like what a normal Hurts game is like. It's like 150 yards passing and he's only feeding one guy, right? So if this was the AJ Brown game, I mean, then Skinny Batman has nothing, Goddard has nothing, Barkley has nothing. So, it's really just trying to guess at who's going to be the target, and the rest of the guys, you got to stay away from, really. On the Lions side, I mean, Jamison Williams, I mean, since Dan Campbell has started calling the plays the past 2 weeks, I mean, he has been the guy. Um, so, might be somebody to target moving forward in fantasy leagues. Because I think if Dan keeps calling plays, I mean, then maybe this stays. The other part that was really interesting to me was the connection between Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown only caught 2 of 12 targets. And I don't think I've ever seen that before. I mean, usually their efficiency is what makes them so special. Goff he only completed these 2 passes to St. Brown. It was a down game. It was a down game for St. Brown. So hopefully he could rebound, and, the Lions can too.
absolutely. Heading over to Monday night, we have the Cowboys at the Raiders. We all three picked the Cowboys. And the Cowboys did dominate the Raiders 33-16. Dak had 268 yards passing, Javonte 93 on the ground. Pickens had 144 and a touchdown. Lamb had 66 and a touchdown. So the whole entire offense ate for the Cowboys. So that's some hope for Shedeur Sanders. The Cowboys defense looked better with their pickups as well. So that is interesting. But Lamb and Pickens were benched in this game as a disciplinary action. So that was interesting to see as well. But does Dallas go and try to re-sign Pickens? And I don't understand what the end game is there yet, because I feel like they could have signed him for cheaper at the beginning of the season, and now here he is catching fire, and he's going to be more expensive. His price tag is going up each game that he plays right now. And for the Raiders side, we have Geno doing Geno things, and it's still not great. But Genty here, 6 carries for 7 yards. Luckily, he added 6 catches for 27 yards. That does not seem like a great draft pick right now. Could change over the years, but one has to also wonder here if Pete Carroll is on thin ice yet.
I don't think Pete's on thin ice. I mean, I think they're going to give him time to figure this out. But yeah, obviously his initial plan of bringing Geno in is not working. Genty, not working. And conversely, the Cowboys, I mean, their offense is really fun to watch. I mean, especially this game in particular. Dak had so much time, and I mean, he was just letting the ball rip. So that was fun to watch. As for Pickens, I would not be surprised if they tried to keep Pickens. I feel like part of the reason they did not keep Parsons was to re-sign some of their own guys. They started to do that a little bit already. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to find a way to keep Pickens.
Yeah, with Lamb already paid, that's going to be hard, and Dak already paid.
Yeah.
So we will see. All right, you ready to hop over to the Week 12 primer? All right, we have bye weeks right now of the Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, and Commanders. So get all of those out of your lineups. The first matchup here is the Bills at the Texans, and Alex is going to go the Bills, as am I. Who are you taking, Jerome?
Davis Mills, I think, is going to keep it close, but I'm going with the Bills.
Absolutely. You can't bet against Josh Allen after that 6-touchdown performance because I don't think he'll get quite 6. I'm thinking the under in this game, but it's really hard with the Buffalo Bills considering Josh Allen is their guy. All right. No international game this week. So we have the Colts at the Chiefs is our next matchup. And this game was really hard to pick for me. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think, because the Chiefs are going to be mad about last week's performance, and the Colts don't play them all the time. So I'm going to actually go the Chiefs in this matchup. Who are you taking?
I mean, I think the Colts are the better team, but I think the Chiefs have their backs against the wall. And I think they're going to win because of that.
Awesome. That's a sweep too. Alex picks the Chiefs as well. The next matchup is the Vikings at the Packers. And Alex in this matchup is taking the Packers, as am I. Who are you taking?
I'm going with the Packers.
I think it's the quarterback situation for me.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Patriots at the Bengals this week. And for this matchup here, I think this is a little bit of a trap game for the Patriots because the Patriots have been playing so well, and this win streak eventually has to end before they hit the postseason. I think if they go into the postseason without a letdown victory, that this could potentially be one of those one and done teams. So once they face a playoff team in the playoffs, but I don't think this is going to be that game. I'm going to go the Patriots here, but I think it could be a lot closer than people think. Who are you going?
I'm going the Bengals. I'm going the Bengals because I feel like everybody's going to be on the Patriots. Chase is out, which is another reason everybody's going to be thinking Patriots. So I'm going the other way.
Yeah, I might do the spread for the Bengals. And Alex is also going the Patriots as well. So that brings us to our next game here of the Giants at the Lions. And the Lions are almost surely to play angry in this game. Alex is going the Lions, so am I.
Yep. Third Lions.
So we have all the same except for one game, and that's the Bengals and the Patriots. So that brings us to our next game here, the Jets at the Ravens. And this game has Tyrod Taylor returning to the lineup for the Jets. And I am still going to go the Ravens. I believe it'll be a better game than they played against the Browns last week.
I'm going with the Ravens too. I feel like the NFL thinks the Ravens are going to win the division, and I think they need to keep winning in order to do that. So I'm going Ravens.
Make it another clean sweep. All right, Steelers at the Bears. Aaron Rodgers, does he still own the Bears? Will Aaron Rodgers play in this game is the question of the week. And I believe there's 50-50 shot of Rodgers playing. Don't know if it'll actually happen. And I feel like Alex is feeling the same because he goes the Bears in this matchup, and I'm also going the Bears in this matchup.
I think I got to go to the Bears too. Injuries at QB and running back for the Steelers just makes me think I got to go with the Bears at home.
Absolutely. Brings us to the Seahawks at the Titans, and this one's easy for me. This is my lock of the week. This is who I'm going for Survivor, and it is the Seahawks here, winning a 1:00 game on the road.
I agree. Seahawks.
And we make that another sweep. So as you can see, there's a lot of close games this week and like only a few slam dunks, and I'm lucky enough to have one of the perceived slam dunks on my bingo card still here. Next one is very interesting because it is Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders, who got humiliated on Monday night at home. And in this matchup here, I am going to go the Browns. Alex is going to go the Browns. And you are going to go, or wait, Alex is going to go the Raiders. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So I'm going to go the Browns. Alex is going to go the Raiders. And you are going to go.
I hinted earlier, I'm going the Raiders.
All right. We'll see if they have a get right game. That defense could really stymie Genty in the Raiders, though, to the point where this is like a 9-3 game.
Yeah, I'm betting on another 4 for 16 from Shedeur.
All right. We will see. He didn't get any reps the entire season with the ones, so that was his first time playing with some of those receivers. So be interesting to see if the timing is improved after a week of practice. Should be better. How much better will it be is the question.
Yeah, I don't think 1 week's going to do it.
Maybe not. We will see. But the Raiders are the right team to get right against. So we will see. The next matchup here is the Jaguars at the Cardinals. And in this matchup, I'm going to go the Jaguars, which might actually be pretty surprising. And Alex is going the Cardinals. I don't know if he's just rooting against his division rivals or if he actually believes the Cardinals can beat the Jaguars at this point.
I'm going the Cardinals too, so I'm going to make you be the oddball here.
Wow, 2 oddballs in a row. I like it, though. That's how I can pick up some games. But we will see. I think both defenses are better than they are given credit for. And we'll see what Michael Wilson does. And we'll see what Trevor Lawrence and hopefully Brian Thomas returning does, especially opposite of Jacoby Myers now. All right. Falcons at the Saints is our next matchup. And Alex is going to go the Saints, as am I. So who are you taking in this one?
I'm going the Falcons.
Oddball.
I mean, the QBs are poor. I feel like it's poor everywhere except for at running back for the Falcons. So that's what I'm going to bet on.
I love that Shuck Jawan Johnson connection. So I'm betting on that one a little bit today.
All right.
But his performance against the Panthers was enough to win me over to hope here. If the Saints win this one, I believe they're both 3-8. So that would be very interesting at this point in the season because no one would have ever thought the Saints and the Falcons would have been on the same playing field. But
yeah. And the Rams own the first round pick for the Falcons, which as of today is the 8th pick in the draft.
And it could continue to sink. And if it does, you could expect the Rams to potentially take a quarterback in the draft, start getting ready for Stafford's retirement. So I'm not saying next year will be it, but they might do a 2-year sitting and then be like, all right, it's time to move on to the young guy. So I think the Rams did the right thing, though. It needs to be said that they kept Stafford this year and they paid him instead of trading him to the Raiders. And I don't think we'd be in this spot right now if they would have traded him. All right. Eagles at the Cowboys, which is like America's game of the week. And I am going the Cowboys in this matchup. I think their defense has improved just enough to stifle the Eagles with the 2 trades that they made. And I'm not sure that the Eagles offense can move the ball that well. And I know that the Cowboys offense can move the ball quite well. So
I mentioned the Eagles D before, so I'm going to stick to the same script. I think the Eagles win because of their defense this game.
And I'm the oddball. So Alex takes the Eagles as well. On to our Sunday night game here. It's the Buccaneers at the Rams. Alex is going the Rams. I'm going the Rams because they are healthier at this point. And you are going?
I'm going the Rams as well.
Right. And then the last matchup, Monday Night Football. This might be folks' best survivor pick here if they don't have the Seahawks still. I am going to go the 49ers, but I think this is a much more 50-50 matchup, and I will be rooting really hard for the Panthers, especially if my foes in my Survivor League pick the 49ers. Alex is also going the 49ers, and you are going...
I'm going the Niners. Purdy's back, and I'm a believer, so go Niners.
Absolutely. I'm not a big Purdy believer, but I can expect a big Tat McMillan game considering the game that Michael Wilson just had. All right, that wraps up our Week 12. Anything else?
No, that does it for another episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for downloading and listening to this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe the show. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.